Welcome to the Scottsdale Vibes podcast. I'm Alicia Haygood. We love our favorite Sean Shackleton real estate agent here in Scottsdale, and she is going to check in with us as she does every month to tell us about the market. Actually, it's really funny because right before we started recording, I was like, what's going on? She's like, I don't know. Which is such a lie because she's about to dive deep into everything that she does know. Sean, you are, I've said this before, you're like an economist when it comes to our market here. You really dive into the statistics, the patterns, and you're knowledgeable on it. So I'm just going to go. What's going on in the market right now?
Well, in the beginning part of the year, everything was going really, really well with the market. We were starting to see increase in buyers. Inventory was coming on the market. And then the Fed came out and announced some things, and unemployment came out and announced some things. And our interest rates are now up back over 7%. And it's not that everything has stalled, because it hasn't. There are still buyers that are out there, but it's definitely made people pause again to say, okay, should I wait? Should I not? Again, I go back to, if you can buy now, and it has to be, right for you, I would still buy, because what this has done is it's removed some people from the market. So you don't have as much competition.
Right.
Which is good for you, because everybody thinks, well, the interest rates go up, so therefore equals, right, prices going down, which is not happening.
Right.
And that's what people seem to struggle with, because they're still looking at prices going, well, why are they still so high? I thought the interest rate was up and now there's not as much demand, and which all of that is true, but our inventory is still really low, really low. I mean, normally at this time of year, we have like 16 to 20,000 homes on the market. And right now we're bouncing kind of between like 12 and 14.
Man.
So it's still really low.
Do you think there's a pattern of like, if you don't have to move, we're not moving kind of mentality right now? So
there's definitely that whole thing of people that bought when interest rates were low at 3% or some lower, that everyone's talking about the locked in effect, or they're handcuffed to their house because their interest rate is really low. And there's no question that is kind of stalling people from moving, because they're like, look, I've got an interest rate really, really low. Do I want to move? I want to move, but can I make this work for a little bit longer? Of course I can, so they are staying put.
Yeah.
And then there's some people that are literally looking at their house going, okay, I have this interest rate that's really, really low and I want to move, but I'm just going to save because I want to keep this house. Yeah. I want to keep it as a rental. I want to keep it as an investment, because we're never going to see interest rates this low again in our lifetime. Likely, very likely,
I mean, that's true.
Right. So they want to keep it as an investment and then be able to save and then go buy another house.
Okay. But there's no house for them to buy.
Yeah. I mean, I have probably 4 buyers right now that I really am having a hard time finding them houses to buy. There's houses out there, right, but they're not, they need a lot of work. They need a new roof. And I know you have Jeremy that talks about insurance. It's funny. I just talked with, because it's coming up and coming up and coming up, how much insurance rates have increased, and how people are not aware, sellers and buyers really, about, insurance companies are getting to the point of, hey, look, if that roof is 20 years old, we might not insure you. Or if we do, your interest rate or your rates are going to go up. And if you have a claim on it, then it's going to be depreciated because it's how old your roof is. So there's just a lot to know, that things are changing as far as when you sell your house, and what buyers need to be looking for, and what sellers need to really be doing to make sure that their home is top dollar. And roofs, as unsexy as they are, they're a big, big, big deal here.
That's valid. Jeremy kind of has brought that up. Insurance hasn't gone up in many years, and it's got to the point now where like they have to. In fact, a lot of them decreased their rates over COVID because no one was doing a lot. Well, you have to make up for that at some point. At the end of the day, it's a business, and and the cost of everything has gone up.
Yeah. And it's not even just that. It's the fact that there have been some natural disasters that now insurance companies all have to pay back. And one of the articles that I was reading, they talked about Lahaina as one of them. It's like that's a big factor to how much the insurance costs are going up.
Yeah. I know we're like kind of far out from it, but this is an election year. I've kind of heard that that really affects the market. And it's like, okay, well, we're in February, March timeframe, but people are already thinking ahead to the end of the year and how that's going to do it. So they're kind of like holding off and staying put because of that reason too.
And here's what I can tell you. And after being in real estate for over 26 years, this is talked about every single election year. I'm going to wait until after the election, because if so-and-so gets elected, then all these are going to, if so-and-so gets elected, and what happens is nothing.
Nothing, right?
Nothing. So where we usually see it kind of stall out a little bit more is sometimes in the luxury market, because when presidents get elected and when things like that happen, stock markets do change. And when you're in the luxury market, that it does affect those buyers and sellers a little bit more. But overall, for people under 2 million, really, even the luxury buyer, I mean, there's ways for them to protect themselves. They pull things out, they move things around, to buffer themselves. But I hear it every 4 years. Yeah. Every 4 years. And in the grand scheme of things, when you really look at everything, nothing changes.
To add to that, by the way, I don't know if people remember, like, just because the election's over, the first or second week of November, nothing changes until
January.
And even then, nothing really changes right away from there. So you're looking at like a year almost after the elections, or at least 6 months before anything happens, right? So
I mean, I understand the thought behind it, but really you have to look historically at the numbers and in all the other election years. And I've looked at it, it just, not much happens. It's not that if somebody else gets elected, then the interest rates just plummet. It just doesn't happen.
Great. What have you kind of heard lately about, I mean, I feel like I heard the Fed said maybe 2 more drops or not.
So when they didn't drop the Fed funds rate in their last meeting, everyone said, okay, well, then this is going to say that they're definitely going to drop it in May. But then unemployment came out, and unemployment did not do what they wanted it to. And so now everyone's saying, well, it's probably going to get pushed out even farther, that the Fed is going to actually drop the rate. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if there's a drastic movement, could that timeline change? Yes. What I've heard is that the Fed plans to drop the Fed funds rate at least 3 times this year. But that's something that it's really, really hard to say what they're going to do. I know one, I know one analyst and he's really, really smart, and he has been studying the numbers forever. And he really thinks that they're making a mistake, that they should have lowered it already, because the numbers that they're looking at, his philosophy behind it is that there's a few people that are on that panel that are old, and they remember the 70s. And so they're very afraid of lowering the interest rate or lowering the Fed funds rate because of what happened in the 70s. However, he's looked at all the data and he's like, all the other numbers are not showing the same signs as we had in the 70s. So there's no real reason in his belief to not lower it. Okay. I'm not an analyst. I look at the numbers, but this is not what I do. Not at that level, right?
Right. I was going to say, I don't know. You have some people fooled then, Sean.
I know, right now. Not at that level. I follow it. I track it. I listen to a lot of people that I feel are really, really smart. There's some people that are saying we're going to be in the 5s by the end of the year. There's other people saying, I don't know. And I think I'm one of those. I don't know. I don't know where the interest rates are going to go. I want to believe that they're going to go down before the end of the year. I really think that they are. Just when you look at, again, if you look at the numbers and you start looking year over year, it kind of has to go down because we've risen so high that the only place for it to go is down. But when Jerome Powell is talking about unemployment, that is his big driver, and unemployment isn't dropping the way that he wants it to. I think that's what's really making him stall out on doing anything.
Well, we'll let you go put your shiny crystal ball back in there and rest up for next month. But, you know, guys, as you hear every month with Sean, she studies things. So it's not just going out, tell everybody what you want and I'll go find it. Like there's a reason and a method to her madness. And when I say madness, it's her genius and understanding the market for you and your availability and what you need. So love you, Sean, and everything you do for us. And again, go check her out, Sean Shackleton, the Shackleton Group. Always check the description of these episodes. You can check her out. She has a great YouTube channel as well, and you can find out more information.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one. We'll be right back after this message. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. Well, football season is now officially over. I don't know about you. I'm still crying, even though, you know, the Super Bowl was just a month ago. It's super sad, but don't worry. The Fiesta Bowl is a year-round event here in the Valley, really. And you don't even understand what goes on behind the scenes. So I'm excited to tell you all about what the Fiesta Bowl does for our community and how, while we might not be playing a game every Saturday here, it is still having a huge impact on us here in Scottsdale and the whole Valley. The first game of the Fiesta Bowl was in 1971 with FSU versus ASU. It has grown in size, bringing in an average of attendance of around 70,000 people. Kristina Chumpol joined the Fiesta team in 2019 and quickly climbed the ranks to her current title of Chief of Staff and VP of Community Investment. Kristina is a local Scottsdale kid who grew up always understanding the importance of giving back, which is why the Fiesta Bowl was an easy role for her to walk into. Fiesta Bowl gives back thousands of dollars each year to our teachers, is a huge economic impact on our community during the big week of the game. But really, Kristina's going to teach us about why, even here in March, we're going to be still talking about what they do for us. So, Kristina, welcome to the podcast. I did not realize this was your first podcast ever, so I'm totally going to call you out for everyone on that.
I'm a newbie.
I know, but you're such a professional. I see you around town everywhere. You and I actually met, our second time was at the Boys and Girls Club where we were volunteering our time to give back. Talk to me about, I just kind of want to start with that because that influences who you are now in this new role with Fiesta Bowl. You grew up as a club kid. You believe in giving back to the community. You were part of that. Kind of talk about how that's formed into who we are today.
I love that question. Anytime I get to talk about Boys and Girls Club, my heart smiles a little bit. You know, the Boys and Girls Club is just such an important mission, and it had a huge impact on me. I was raised by a single mom ultimately, and was working 3 jobs and doing all the things, and I needed that community, that space, to really help me become the woman I am today, and the club 100% did that. I was a club kid in the way that you hear some kids, you know, they're in the student council and everything at school. Yeah. I did all of that at the club, and they were really my extended family. And to this day, people who I call upon every week, every day, we're texting. And so it's just amazing the impact it has on kids' lives. And I knew I wanted to be a part of that for my profession as well for a long time, which I did for 15 years, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that give back spirit, being a part of something that's bigger than yourself, was always what filled my tank. And so it made sense for me to be a part of Boys and Girls Club for a long time, but knew that wherever my career goals took me, I needed that space to know that, again, there's a story at play that's bigger than us. I know that when I go home at the end of the day, it was an impact. There was something bigger there. And again, all of that really stems from my time at Boys and Girls Club.
Well, that's huge. It goes right into my next question I wanted to ask you. It's a big impact. It feeds you and it feeds a community that you didn't realize it until later on in life. That's exactly what the Fiesta Bowl is doing. Let's kind of talk about the history of it. How did it even get started here in the Valley? Because it is hot sometimes, and that is our pretty season when football season is. But why a bowl game here, and how did that all happen?
So what's so fun about Fiesta Bowl is that rich history. Every day when I stumble upon a stranger or a new conversation and you mention Fiesta Bowl and people are like, oh, I was in the Queen of Court, or I did the parade, or my son was, there's so many connection points, which is so fun. But just that local history, it's so huge. But over 50 years ago, it's a bunch of really innovative folks that came together, our founders, and saw a point of that, hold on, ASU can't get in a bowl game. We need to do something about it. And that's the truth,
I mean, it makes sense. If you don't have it for yourself, fine, we'll make it for ourselves.
We talk about the passionate college football fans, and our founders were that. But gosh, you think about it really starting there, about the rich history with ASU is a huge piece of who we are.
Yeah.
But where it's grown from there, I don't think it. And they still say, we have some of our founders that are still here today, and they often say, gosh, if we would have had a crystal ball and seen what this has become, we could have never guessed this.
Yeah. Well, talk about, you're from here. What do you remember as a kid growing up about the Fiesta Bowl?
I know. I went to the Fiesta Bowl parade more than anything as a kid.
Yeah.
I can remember my mom taking me. We loved parades. We would go to the Parada del Sol in Scottsdale, and then
absolutely.
we'd go over to the Fiesta Bowl parade at the different time of year. But I knew, and then as I got older, I loved college football. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a unique one where I'm a diehard Ohio State Buckeye fan. It's a longer story. But they come to the Fiesta Bowl a number of times recently. We haven't had great success. But I think, they're one of our most repeated teams in the game. But yeah, it's cool that growing up, I certainly knew what the Fiesta Bowl was about. Yeah. And then my time working at Boys and Girls Club, so much contributions that the Fiesta Bowl was making. And that's where I started to understand that whole more than a game spirit was certainly more as I became an adult. And I realized, okay, there's more than just the college football and that parade going on.
Yeah. Well, I will say let's talk about the parade for a second. It's a huge community involvement. My daughter's, one of her closest friends got to go to the parade and kind of be in it because his grandmother works for Blue Cross Blue Shield.
I love that.
They're one of the sponsors. They brought the kids into it. It was just like a domino effect of how it really, it's from, we were watching on TV and I was like, Maxon's at the parade right now kind of thing. Talk about the community involvement with the parade, the kickoff. There's so much that goes on that really the entire country only sees the parade and the game. But that's really just, to me, the tip of the iceberg of what the Fiesta Bowl is here in the community.
It is 100% the tip of the iceberg. We're a year-round events company, truthfully. So there's the nonprofit sector and the work that we're doing in the community. There's our other ancillary events that we're doing to raise money throughout the year so that we can ensure we continue to be that stakeholder in the community. And then you get to bowl season in December. And yeah, the parade is certainly one that what's so fun is just the different touch points and really that local feel. We're Arizona-wide and ultimately a national brand.
Yeah.
But folks here in Arizona, and again, it's what I talked about earlier of people having those ties. So yeah, my son walked in the parade or they were a banner holder. Yeah. Those are the fun parts. And that's the life kind of behind our organization. It's all about experiences. We want when people are involved with the Fiesta Bowl at any level, again, whether it's one of those ancillary events, it's coming to our game, it's being a recipient of a grant. We want that the taste in your mouth that's left is like, gosh, the Fiesta Bowl is something special. And they care about our community. And I think people feel that. They feel that when you're at those events. They feel it when they're exposed to the work we're doing. And I think that's a little bit of the secret sauce.
Well, let's talk more about that experience. You actually have your headquarters right here on the waterfront in Scottsdale. It is free, open to the public. They have a museum and more. From that to what you give back to the community, from teachers to other things, talk about that giving back factor and how that is a year-round, position for you all.
So we often say with the Fiesta Bowl, the core of us is football, right? We're all about football.
Right. That's my life too. I get it.
You get it. But the heart of our organization is Fiesta Bowl Charities and the work that we're doing in this community. And, that's equated to $30 million in the last 13 years.
Yeah. How many?
$30 million in 13 years.
Oh
it's
my
something to be proud of. And that's the bigger story, right? It's what separates us. Yeah, you're going to get an elite college football experience. But at the end of the day, the revenue that's generated there, we're a nonprofit ourselves. So those dollars are coming back into this community in the areas of youth, sports, and education year in and year out. Yeah. And that's equated to some pretty impressive impact.
I love that. I am such a huge fan of, education's on the forefront of everyone's mind. You can't do anything without education. You start with that. We had, Dennis Robbins from the Charros on last week talking about giving back to the teachers and stuff like that. I've seen you all over the news, handing out those massive checks, which I'll just take a blank one. I think they're super cool. Talk a little bit about how you decide where and why to give back to our community for that.
I think you have to be really intentional in that space. And that's something that our Fiesta Bowl family, our board of directors, our Yellow Jackets, our stakeholders, they understand. Mm-hmm. And so recently we really spent time to identify what are the pillars, what are those priorities that we want to make a difference. Because the truth is you can't be all things to all people. There's a lot of need and a lot of really important need. But we've laser focused our priorities to be youth, sports, and education.
Okay.
And those are the areas that we're going to give back. And we want to do so in a big way. And so you talk about education, and I would say that's really become our primary focus, and our signature program in the charity space is really our Wishes for Teachers program.
I agree.
And, the work that's happening there, gosh, I get the question often, like, what's your favorite thing and that's a tough one because we do so much great impact and so much great work. But the Wishes for Teachers program is something pretty special.
When the founders started this, was that always a mission for them, was to always give back and not just have ASU be on TV for a bowl game?
I love that. Yes. Has that grown significantly? And do you start small? But you start with intention. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you put those definitions in of that, no, we're a community-focused organization, that's going to be part of our values and what we stand for. That's stuck. Yeah. And so, yes, that's 100% a part of our history. But again, where we're headed, the trajectory has only gone up, and that's exciting.
I mean, you talk about community involvement. There's thousands of volunteers that work for the week of the event, from hosting the breakfast to doing the parade to volunteering for the game. I mean, it really is a community effort to make this happen outside of y'all's headquarters here.
We could not do what we do without the thousands of people who have chosen the Fiesta Bowl to be the organization that they contribute their time to. And you're right. I mean, from general volunteers to ambassadors to Yellow Jacket Committee, board of directors, the Fiesta Bowl family is strong and mighty, and we are so grateful. Volunteerism as a whole is a unique thing that's had its ebbs and flows in society in a post-COVID world, and people are protecting their time, and you should really think strongly about the time is limited. And so if you're going to give back, you want to be really strategic about where you're aligning that. And so I feel so lucky that there's just so many people who understand the mission of our organization and say, yeah, we want to keep showing up.
Listen, I'll say the one thing. When y'all show up, it's very obvious that y'all are in town. You're wearing your yellow jacket right now. Talk about, this is a really cool story I just learned, the history of the Yellow Jacket and how y'all came about.
So the Yellow Jacket is a funny story. I don't even know that I can speak to the full, because there's lots of versions of that story. But I think ultimately, we want to stand out. We want people to know we're here, and we think that our work speaks for itself. If you're going to, we don't just want to talk the talk, we want to walk the walk, but it's a unifier. It's about coming together. And so, it's a force. You come to a Yellow Jacket Committee meeting and people will walk into a hotel and they're like, where are we? Yeah. Because it's just a sea of yellow.
It really is.
It's bright, it's commanding, but I think more than anything, it's about connection, and it's about coming together, and we're a part of something. And it's a little bit cheeky of, we all wear these yellow, but no, it's something bigger than that. And I think people are really proud to wear it. I'm proud to wear it because I know really what it stands for.
I mean, when you walk in, and we've been to events together, and you all have a whole table of you, and it is, I mean, y'all are there and you represent, and you're very proud to fit in with that, but it also represents the community, and the Sunshine State that we live in, kind of thing. And it helps you have a big sun on you too.
There you go.
It was kind of funny. One story I read was when you joined the football committee, y'all were the only ones that didn't have a color designated for your team. So
right.
You got yellow. I don't blame you. And by the way, Florida is not the Sunshine State. We are a Sunshine State over Florida.
I agree. All I know is that yellow is not the best color in me. So there's days I wish, but I'm here for the cause, and I'll take one for the team.
What are some things that you all are working for to grow the program, to grow the game? There's kind of been a shift in football and as a whole with teams and the committees and how things are picked. How are y'all working together to do that and continue to make Fiesta Bowl one of the big bowls here for college football?
So the landscape of college football is changing every day, right? I think it's college athletics as a whole. It's so many things in our society. But how do you stay relevant? How do you make sure that you're changing with that time? And again, it comes back to that innovative kind of pioneering spirit that I think we've had as an organization. Our CEO, Eric Moses, talks often about, the analogy of we got to skate to where the puck is going.
I like that.
Not being reactive, but really being proactive. And I think that's the focus of where we're at. So ensuring that the Fiesta Bowl and our Guaranteed Rate Bowl continue to be these elite bowl games. I have no question we're in a really great spot for that. As expansion rolls out, this is the first year ever that we will be the very first quarterfinal in the history of, playoffs. Pretty exciting. We're in a healthy spot there, and we're going to continue to be, again, I keep saying it, but an elite college football game. But again, that growth spot. So we talk about the community impact world. We need to ensure that also the events that we're doing year round are growing so that we can continue to give at the level we have been historically.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about being in an events company, I think that the possibilities are endless. We're really excited about kind of new ideas in the event space and how we can continue to grow to ensure that things around the Fiesta Bowl are an experience.
Yeah.
And things that are leading up to bowl season that whether or not you're a college football fan, which I'm a diehard, you're a diehard, we're going to be there for the football.
Absolutely.
But other folks that are in our local community are like, I just want to be a part of that because it's a good time. It's an experience. And again, the money that's generated here is coming back into our community. There's nothing better than that. So growth and expansion, that's where we're at.
Do you think that the Guaranteed Rate Bowl is underneath you guys as well. How does that kind of work to bring in other bowls underneath the Fiesta Bowl?
So bringing in so Guaranteed Rate Bowl is a separate game and, kind of a lower tiered bowl game, if you will. But what's really fun with a Guaranteed Rate Bowl is that we have so much creativity there.
Okay.
It doesn't fall within the CFP playoff structure, which has a lot of guidelines and specifics.
Yes, I know. We got cut, but that's fine. We'll go on to a different stage about that.
Yes. So with Guaranteed Rate Bowl that we're playing at Chase Field, it's really about what's possible and what's creative in that space. How are we getting fans that are watching at home and in the game closer to the action in really intentional ways?
Yeah.
That's what's going to be fun with that space. Another really fun fact with the Guaranteed Rate Bowl is that obviously it's a baseball stadium. We roll in our turf to turn it into a football. And instead of that being a one-time thing and all of that sod gets, thrown away, that's a permanent football field somewhere in this state for the rest of time. So it's a Fiesta Bowl legacy field.
Oh, very cool.
This year, we're going to be going to Luke Air Force Base, which is super exciting, supporting the youth in that community. But we have several of these fields all over the state, and that's something that comes out of the Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
I love that.
So it's fun about what's possible in that space. And we had a great matchup this year with Kansas, and UNLV was a fun one.
It was a good game. And that's what, to me, it's all about, right? Like, I love football, like you said, and you do too. I don't need to watch every matchup that I care about. I just want a good game out of it, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
The economic impact you guys have is phenomenal. It's huge. The amount, you're talking 70,000 is the average attendance for just the Fiesta Bowl, not including the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. That's hotels, that's restaurants, that's shopping for our small businesses. We are a huge tourism city and community. What kind of financial impact does that bring in for you guys?
I think it's pretty impressive. So that economic impact, we're looking at close to $200 million.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's something to be really proud of. And I think that's why, again, we're a community partner here in the state of Arizona, but really specifically here in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
When you look at our hotel partners and ensure, that's over 7,000 rooms each year. And we're proud of that. And we want to showcase who we are as Arizona.
Right.
We're excited for the opportunity when folks are traveling from across the country to get a taste of what's happening here. It's something special. And what we say differentiates us from, other popular cities is, we're a destination, but we're also a community.
Yeah.
We're a place that is excited to have tourists, and embraces them,
yes.
and families and all ages, and whether it's golf or whether it's other, scenic things, that there's so many options. And so we're proud to be a part of that and bringing folks here and giving them a taste of what's special in Arizona.
I think that's what kind of makes us stand out is we are a vacation destination. You don't just come here for the game. You're like, oh, we're going to make a whole week of vacation out of this,
Yep.
right? And then the game is just a piece of that, which I think speaks volumes to who we are as a city and a community.
Totally.
All right, my last question for you, Kristina. What is your favorite Scottsdale vibe? And you cannot say football. You have to say something else. I know. I'm going to call you out.
My goodness, give me what are other people saying?
I can't tell you that.
It's not defined.
What's about you?
What about Scottsdale
Because I think Scottsdale, that's what I tell everyone. Scottsdale is such a unique vibe, but it's different to everyone here. So it teaches us to kind of have open eyes and perspective to something else I may not have seen or realized. So what is your favorite Scottsdale vibe?
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question that I did not prepare for.
I know, it catches everyone off guard. I love it, actually.
I bet you do. Yeah, I'm in the hot seat now. My favorite Scottsdale vibe, I think, is It's the type of people. People are from everywhere. I mean, you and I talked about this. I'm from here, born and raised, been in this area my whole life. There are more of us than we realize, but we're still not that many. You know, what's fun is that meeting folks, being somewhere, people are from everywhere and different walks of life and different backgrounds. And you wouldn't expect that. I think Scottsdale kind of gets this assumption of being a very specific demographic. And I used to say this all the time, working in Boys and Girls Club and understanding the demographics that are in our community. Yeah. It is wide ranging. Yes. And it is a unique melting pot that, again, I don't think people appreciate and understand. So I think that's something that's special about us. You know, whether it's the hole in the wall, kind of low key, you know, Mexican restaurants that are just like the best food you've ever had, to going to an elite 5-star resort where you're going to have an awesome cocktail and have a beautiful view of Camelback. Like you have so much at your footstep.
That's my answer. Yeah, it is. I tell everyone, I was like, it's the people here that make it unique to me. The vibe is everyone is the same yet so different. Like we all have that same passion and love for where we live. And I think that's our commonality. And it's when you break that down and realize how different you are, but you can still be the same. So
I love that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And a huge thanks to your team. You know, a shout out to them because like you said, it's thousands of people that work throughout the year. You have a core team here. Go visit them right here on the waterfront. It's a beautiful museum. The doors are always open. It's free. So, and then go next door to enjoy a meal because they're right next to lots of restaurants.
There you go.
Scottsdale Fashion Square and more. Thank you so much. We'll come back after the short break with the calendar of events. When it comes to protecting you, your family, and all your assets, you need to have someone that you can trust. And that's Jeremy Mueller of State Farm Insurance. Jeremy Mueller has lived in Scottsdale his whole life. How can anyone else know your needs more than someone who's been here and seen it all? Jeremy and his team are always ranked in the top % at State Farm. He cares, he's knowledgeable, and most importantly, he's always available. Don't believe me? Give him a call at 480-515-5223 or find him at jeremymueller.com. The Talking Stick Resort is going to have a fun night coming up on Saturday, March 16th with Ron White, You Can't Fix Stupid comedy tour. I was a fan of him on the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. You must have known him from the cigar smoking, whiskey drinking, hilarious man who has really come out on his own since then. There are still tickets left to the 10 p.m. showing, so go get them quick as they only last so long. All right, families, this one is for you. The exclusively Little Expo at McCormick Railroad Park. It's a one-stop shop for you to find out about everything that's going on in the city, from the City of Scottsdale activities and events, summer camps, sports leagues, storybook entertainment, and the Dino Crew entertainment will be out there as well. And hey, just go enjoy a train ride, carousel ride, get some ice cream, and go play in the park. It's going to be a beautiful day. Happening Saturday, March 16th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So go check out and find some stuff to do because as we all know as parents, it is time right now to start planning your summer vacations and camps. And if you're not already on it, you might be too late. So go check this out to find out more. Of course, we have a few weeks left of spring training, so there are tickets left to all the games. Go see your favorite team. You'll get to see an opportunity to see some of your favorite players up close. And also, this is the opportunity where these guys are playing their hearts out to try to make the big leagues. And that's what I love about college football, kind of the same thing about spring training. So go out there and support our boys are working out hard. And just another opportunity to have some beer and hot dogs and boiled peanuts is what I like to do. All right, Scottsdale, don't forget to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast listening app. We're also on YouTube for the video episode each week. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere in this world, and especially here in Scottsdale. Have a wonderful week, Scottsdale. Keep vibing, and I'll see you around town.